Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra Dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's a special political odds edition of the OffshoreInsiders.com sports betting podcast. We take a look at the likely Republican presidential nominee. Entering the first of the Republican presidential debates on Fox News, Donald Trump is certainly dominating the polls, but the much more foretelling sports books say that he is a long shot, although maybe not as much of a long shot as before. He's now number 4 on the list, and a couple weeks ago, he was actually about 25-1. Now he is down to 8-1. Jeb Bush, though, still the favorite at 5-4, followed by Scott Walker. Scott Walker, one of those guys, did stand up to the big money, and that could be quite popular as he becomes more known in the debates. He doesn't have that well-known last name that obviously Jeb Bush does, trying to become the third Bush to become president. Marco Rubio is third at 6-1, followed by Donald Trump at 8-1. Rand Paul 10-1. John Kasich, who a lot of people think would be the vice presidential running mate. He, of course, from Ohio, and Ohio always a swing state. Ben Carson, maybe the best long shot candidate there at 16-1. I almost said dark horse, but somebody was going to flag me for, making a politically incorrect pun. That would have been unintentional. I actually caught myself. Chris Christie, now at 20-1. He, of course, was one of the early leaders a couple years ago when the sportsbooks first posted possible nominees for the Republican Party. He's tied with Mike Huckabee, who's really got no chance. Chris Christie at least has a prayer. Mike Huckabee doesn't. It is worth noting that these odds do come from Paddy Power Sportsbook, which is an Irish sportsbook, which may explain why they have Arnold Schwarzenegger at only 100-1, especially considering he is constitutionally barred from becoming president. We'll go way on a limb and say that Arnold Schwarzenegger will not get the Republican presidential nominee. I think they're also way off thinking that Huckabee has as much chance as Chris Christie. Ted Cruz and Michael Bloomberg, each at 25-1, representing each end of the Republican Party. Cruz, the right wing, and Michael Bloomberg, the more left wing. Ron Paul, not to be confused, of course, with his son Rand, he is among the interesting long shots at 50-1, but also a little surprised he's listed so low. Rick Perry, of course, is not doing well in polls, and when he stumbled 4 years ago, he pretty much cost himself any chance at a presidential possibility. Still at 40-1. You never know. He could be coming from behind. Bobby Jindal, also a relative long shot at 33-1. Paul Ryan, a guy who really jumped off the radar screen. He, of course, he was the Republican vice presidential nominee 4 years ago, and a lot of people thought he was going to be the front runner 4 years from now, which of course would be, 4 years from then, I should say, which of course is a year from now, but he is now considered a long shot at 33-1. I would agree with the sports books that Donald Trump doesn't have as good of a chance as the pollsters say. A lot of people do protest votes, much less want to do when they're surveyed, they want to do a little bit of a protest to sign a message, and also a lot of President Obama's non-partisan critics have voiced displeasure over the fact that he seems to be bending over backwards to not offend people that we shouldn't be worried about offending anyway. Donald Trump has taken the other role, and I think he's done a brilliant job so far of really hitting on some points that are near and dear to some of the critics of the current administration. That's why he's so popular, but once the microscope is under him, Trump will likely wind up plummeting in the polls. Also, Trump is kind of the anti-establishment guy. He is the only one of the candidates among the possibilities other than Ben Carson who is not a career politician, so that's going for him. We see on the Democratic side where Bernie Sanders, kind of the anti-establishment guy, is also skyrocketing in the polls, but the truth is, and we'll take a look at the Democratic odds coming up in a future podcast, but the truth is, even though Sanders and Trump, according to some of the pollsters, might be the front runners, the odds makers, and I would certainly agree that they are not the likely nominees. But that's where they stand. Donald Trump is skyrocketing, admittedly, in the odds, but nothing compared to how well he's doing in the polls, where he is usually twice whoever the number 2 candidate is in the polls. Trump is now considered to be the number 4 possibility, not all that far ahead of Rand Paul at number 5. But make sure you listen. Of course, offshoreinsiders.com, known for our sports betting expertise, but we have touched a couple times the presidential odds, and I've been quoted in a few national and international websites. The CBC contacted me 4 years ago, or actually would have been 3 years ago, right before the previous presidential election. But there you go. Jeb Bush is the sportsbook favorite, and the sportsbook's much more accurate than the pollsters, followed by Scott Walker, Marco Rubio, then Donald Trump, Rand Paul. I guess, according to the odds makers, there are probably 5 people with a realistic chance there, with Rand Paul in 4th place of the possibilities. But visit offshoreinsiders.com for all your betting needs. Turn your priceless memories into video montages for any occasion at DuffyVideo.com. Bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, anniversaries, graduations. Get movie-style trailers done to promote events, conventions, or your small business. We'll do audio commercials for radio and podcasts, just like this one. It includes royalty-free music beds and plenty of sound effects. If you are one of the many clients who have been with offshoreinsiders.com for years, you'll get a substantial discount on all of our services. Keep an eye on DuffyVideo.com. A lot more features are coming.
Want to keep little hands busy at home? The Home Depot has free kids workshop kits with everything you need to get started. Pick up a new one in store starting the first Saturday of every month. Then head to homedepot.com/kids for a project guide that's easy to follow along with. Plus loads of other kid-friendly content. Kids can't wait to get their hands on them. Find out more at homedepot.com/kids. Free kids workshop kits, only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. While supplies last, U.S. only.